The unlikely encounter. The twin suns of Sax's Nine cast an ethereal glow across the crystalline spires of Nova Haven, the sprawling capital city of the Xanthari people. Amidst the bustle of alien life forms and the hum of advanced technology, Xaric Xanthor stood out like a beacon of tranquility. Her iridescent scales shimmered with each movement, a testament to her species' evolution on a world bathed in perpetual twilight. But it wasn't Zara's otherworldly beauty that caused passers-by to give her a wide berth. It was the massive, six-limbed creature that padded silently by her side. Kex, as Zara had named him, resembled a cross between an earth tiger and a Martian soundstalker. His metallic fur rippled with barely contained energy, and his 3 sets of eyes constantly scanned the surroundings for potential threats. Zara sighed, used to the fearful glances and hushed whispers that followed her wherever she went. As the lead botanist at the Intergalactic Flora Preservation Institute, she had dedicated her life to studying and protecting the rarest plant species in the known universe. Kex had been her constant companion since she'd rescued him as a cub during an expedition to the treacherous jungles of Novus Prime. "Ignore them, Kex," Zara murmured, her melodic voice soothing the creature's rising hackles. "They simply don't understand our bond." As they approached the towering gates of the Institute, a commotion near the central plaza caught Zora's attention. A group of humans, still a relatively uncommon sight on Sax's Nine, seemed to be engaged in a heated discussion with a contingent of Xanthari security forces. Curiosity piqued, Zara moved closer, Kex following with silent grace. As she neared, she could make out snippets of the conversation. "Diplomatic immunity. You can't just confiscate our equipment," a tall, broad-shouldered human male argued, his voice carrying a note of exasperation. The lead Xanthari guard, his tendrils twitching with annoyance, responded in clipped tones. "Your scanning devices are prohibited in this sector, human. Surrender them immediately or face detention." Zara frowned. While it was true that certain areas of Nova Haven were off-limits to foreign scanning technology, the plaza was a public space. The guards were overstepping their authority, likely due to lingering mistrust between their species. Before she could intervene, Kex let out a low, rumbling growl. The sound, reminiscent of distant thunder, caused everyone in the vicinity to freeze. The Xanthari guards instinctively took a step back, their hands moving to their weapons. The human delegation turned as one, their eyes widening at the sight of Kex. All except for the man who had been arguing with the guards. He stood his ground, his piercing blue eyes meeting Zara's gaze with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "Fascinating," he breathed, taking a step towards Zara and Kex. "I've never seen anything like him." The lead guard found his voice, though it quavered slightly. "Step away from the Krelton, human. It's dangerous." To everyone's shock, the man did the opposite. He slowly extended his hand, palm up, towards Kex. "Hello there, big fella," he said softly. "Aren't you a magnificent creature?" Zara held her breath, ready to call Kex back if he showed any signs of aggression. To her amazement, Kex cocked his head to the side, studying the human with curiosity rather than hostility. After a tense moment, Kex leaned forward and sniffed the outstretched hand. A collective gasp rose from the onlookers as Kex then proceeded to nuzzle the man's palm, a deep, contented pow rumbling from his chest. The human chuckled, scratching behind Kex's ears, as if he were nothing more than an oversized house cat. "There's a good boy," he murmured. "You're not so scary, are you? Just misunderstood." Zara stared in disbelief. In all her years with Kex, she had never seen him take to a stranger so quickly, let alone a member of another species. "H, how did you do that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The man looked up, a warm smile spreading across his features. "I've always had a way with animals, even back on Earth. I guess some things are universal." He straightened, offering his hand to Zara. "Captain Jake Harrison of the Terran Diplomatic Corps. It's a pleasure to meet you, miss." "Zara," she replied, taking his hand hesitantly. "Zara Xanthor. I'm a botanist at the Institute. Jake's eyes lit up. A botanist? That's fantastic. We're actually here to discuss a potential joint research project between Earth and Saxes 9. Your planet's flora is unlike anything we've ever encountered. The lead guard, seemingly having recovered from his shock, cleared his throat. This is all very touching, but it doesn't change the fact that your scanning equipment is prohibited. Jake turned back to the guard, his expression serious but not confrontational. I understand your concerns, but I assure you, our devices are purely for scientific purposes. We have no interest in your military or technological secrets. Zara, sensing an opportunity to defuse the situation, stepped forward. If I may, Officer Krell, I can vouch for Captain Harrison and his team. As a senior researcher at the Institute, I have clearance to oversee the use of foreign equipment within the city limits. The guard's tendrils twitched uncertainly, but Dr. Xenthor, the protocols clearly state. The protocols also state that exceptions can be made in the interest of scientific cooperation, Zara interrupted smoothly. I'll take full responsibility for their actions while they're here. Officer Krell hesitated for a moment longer before finally relenting. Very well, Dr. Xenthor, but they are not to leave your sight while operating that equipment. As the guards dispersed and the crowd began to thin, Jake turned to Zara with a grateful smile. Thank you for that. You didn't have to stick your neck out for us. Zara felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. It was the right thing to do. Besides, I'm quite interested in this joint research project you mentioned. Jake's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Well then, Dr. Xenthor, perhaps you'd be willing to give us a tour of your facilities. I have a feeling this could be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. As they walked towards the Institute, Kex padding contentedly alongside them, Zara couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement she hadn't experienced in years. Something told her that Captain Jake Harrison's arrival on Saxes 9 was going to change everything, for her people, and perhaps for the entire galaxy. Little did she know just how prophetic that feeling would turn out to be. Cosmic convergence. The iridescent dome of the Saxes 9 Botanical Archives towered above Jake and Zara as they approached, its surface shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in harmony with the planet's magnetic field. Kex trotted beside them, occasionally sniffing at the strange flora that lined the path. I've got to say, Dr. Xenthor, your world never ceases to amaze me. Jake marveled, his eyes wide with wonder. Those plants, are they communicating? Zara's multifaceted eyes glimmered with pride. Indeed they are, Captain. The whisper ferns, as we call them, form a vast mycelial network beneath the surface. They're essentially the planet's neural network. As they entered the archives, Jake's team spread out, their equipment humming softly as they began to take readings. Zara led Jake deeper into the facility, past rows of exotic specimens preserved in stasis fields. You mentioned a joint research project, Zara prompted, her curiosity piqued. What exactly did you have in mind? Jake's expression turned serious. Have you ever heard of the Lazarus Protocol? Zara's tendrils quivered with surprise. The theoretical process for reviving extinct species. But that's just a hypothesis, isn't it? Not anymore, Jake replied, lowering his voice. We had a breakthrough on Earth. We've successfully revived several extinct plant species, but the process is unstable and we've hit a wall. Zara's mind raced with the implications. And you think something here on Saxes 9 might help? Jake nodded. Your planet's unique biodiversity, combined with the advanced preservation techniques you developed, we believe it could be the key to perfecting the Lazarus Protocol. Before Zara could respond, an alarm blared through the facility. Red lights pulsed urgently, and a computerized voice echoed through the chambers. Warning. Containment breach in Sector 7. All personnel evacuate immediately. Zara's heart raced. Sector 7, but that's impossible. The security measures their air. Her words were cut off by a bone-chilling roar that reverberated through the archives. Kex's fur stood on end, a low growl rumbling in his chest. "What's in Sector 7? Jake asked, already moving towards the source of the commotion. Zara grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "Captain, we need to leave. Now. Sector 7 houses our most dangerous specimens, if something's escaped." But Jake stood his ground, his jaws set with determination. "We can't just run. Your colleagues might need help. Besides," he added with a wry smile, "danger is kind of my specialty." Against her better judgment, Zara found herself following Jake towards Sector 7, Kex prowling protectively at her side. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a scene of chaos. Tendrils of what looked like living shadow writhed across the floor and walls, absorbing light and leaving patches of absolute darkness in their wake. In the center of the maelstrom stood a figure that defied description, a swirling vortex of darkness punctuated by pinpricks of starlight. "By the cosmic winds," Zara breathed. "It's a void wraith. But how?" Jake's eyes narrowed as he assessed the situation. "I'm guessing that's not supposed to be out of its cage." A group of Xanthari scientists huddled behind an overturned storage unit, terror etched on their faces as the void wraith advanced. Without hesitation, Jake sprung into action. "Hey, Shadow Boy," he shouted, waving his arms. "Over here." The void wraith paused, its starlight eyes fixing on Jake. With impossible speed, it surged towards him, tendrils of darkness reaching out hungrily. But Jake was ready. In one fluid motion, he pulled a small device from his belt and hurled it at the creature. The device erupted in a blinding flash of light, momentarily dispersing the void wraith's shadowy form. "Zara," Jake called out. "We need to contain it. Any ideas?" Zara's scientific mind kicked into overdrive. "Light. It's vulnerable to intense light, but we need more than just a flash." Jake nodded, his eyes scanning the room. "What about those stasis fields? Can we modify them?" "Theoretically, yes, but—" "No time for theories," Jake interrupted. "We need action. Tell me what to do." As the void wraith began to reform, Zara and Jake worked in perfect synchronization. Jake's technical expertise combined with Zara's knowledge of the archive systems as they rapidly reconfigured a nearby stasis field. The void wraith lunged at them just as they finished the modifications. Jake dove, tackling Zara out of the way as Kex leaped forward, interposing himself between them and the creature. "Kex, no," Zara cried out. But to everyone's amazement, the void wraith recoiled from Kex. The beast's metallic fur seemed to absorb the creature's shadowy tendrils, glowing with an inner light. "Now, Jake," Zara shouted. Jake slammed his hand down on the activation panel. The modified stasis field sprang to life, bathing the area in searing light. The void wraith writhed and contorted, its form compressing into a singularity before being sucked into the containment field. As the light faded and alarms quieted, Jake helped Zara to her feet. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern evident in his voice. Zara nodded, still processing what had just happened. "Thanks to you, and Kex." She knelt beside her companion, running her hands through his fur. "How did you do that, boy?" Jake crouched next to them, his expression thoughtful. "I've never seen anything like it. It's as if Kex naturally counteracts the void wraith's abilities." As the Xanthari scientists emerged from their hiding spots, showering Jake and Zara with gratitude, a spark of realization ignited in Zara's mind. "Captain," she said slowly, "I think I understand now why the Lazarus Protocol has been unstable on Earth." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Oh." Zara gestured to Kex, then to the contained void wraith. "Life and death, light and darkness. It's all about balance. Your process is missing a crucial component, something to anchor the revived species to our plane of existence." Jake's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. "And you think Kex, or something in his biology, could be that anchor?" Zara nodded excitedly. "Precisely. With your breakthrough and our resources here on Saxes 9, we might be able to perfect the Lazarus Protocol. We could bring back countless extinct species, restore lost ecosystems, and change the face of the galaxy, Jake finished, a grin spreading across his face. Dr. Xenfor, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership. As they stood there, human and alien united by a common purpose, with a beast of legend at their side, neither Jake nor Zara could shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if in anticipation of the cosmic changes to come. Little did they know that their groundbreaking discovery would soon attract the attention of forces far beyond their imagination, forces that would test the limits of their newfound alliance and thrust them into the heart of a galactic conspiracy that threatened the very fabric of reality itself. Echoes of eternity. The aftermath of the Void Wraith incident sent shockwaves through the scientific community of Saxes 9. Word spread quickly of the human captain who had faced down a cosmic horror with nothing but quick thinking and a mysterious alien beast at his side. Jake found himself thrust into the spotlight, a reluctant hero in a world not his own. Zara, for her part, was busy fending off a barrage of questions from her colleagues about Kex's newfound abilities. The once feared creature had become the subject of intense fascination overnight. I assure you, Professor Zixan, we're working on understanding Kex's unique properties as quickly as possible, Zara said, her tendrils twitching with mild irritation. But we have more pressing matters at hand. Indeed they did. In the days following the incident, Jake and Zara had thrown themselves into their research, working tirelessly to merge the Lazarus Protocol with the biological marvels of Saxes 9. Their progress was nothing short of miraculous. As the twin suns set on the 5th day of their collaboration, Jake burst into Zara's lab, his eyes wild with excitement. "We did it," he exclaimed, brandishing a holographic datapad. "The simulations are off the charts. We're ready for a live test." Zara's multifaceted eyes widened. "Already? But the ethical committees have given us the green light," Jake finished, grinning. "Apparently, saving the archives from an interdimensional shadow monster earns you some goodwill around here." Kex, sensing the excitement, padded over and nuzzled Jake's hand. The human scratched behind the creature's ears absently, his mind already racing with possibilities. "So," Zara said, her voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension, "what's our first subject?" Jake's grin widened. "Oh, you're going to love this." Hours later, they stood in a specially prepared chamber deep within the archives. At its center sat a containment pod that hummed with barely contained energy. Inside, suspended in a shimmering field, was a small withered seed. "Is that what I think it is?" Zara breathed, her tendrils quivering with anticipation. Jake nodded sullenly. The last known seed of the Earth's cosmic oak, extinct for over a millennium, but once said to be a bridge between worlds. Zara marveled at the tiny object that held such immense potential. "And you think we can bring it back?" "There's only one way to find out," Jake replied, his hand hovering over the activation switch. "Ready?" Zara placed her hand over his, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared determination. Together, they initiated the Lazarus Protocol. The chamber filled with a blinding light as energy surged through the containment pod. Kex growled softly, his metallic fur rippling with an inner glow that seemed to resonate with the swirling energies. Suddenly, alarms blared. The pod's readings spiked erratically. "It's destabilizing," Zara shouted over the din. "The cellular reconstruction is collapsing." Jake's jaw set with determination. "Not if I can help it." In a move that defied all safety protocols, he rushed towards the pod. "Jake, no!" Zara cried out, but it was too late. Jake placed his hands on the pod, and something extraordinary happened. The chaotic energies seemed to calm, flowing through him like a conduit. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as he became a bridge between the present and the distant past. Kex bounded forward, pressing his massive form against Jake's side. The creature's fur pulsed with energy, creating a stabilizing field that enveloped both of them and the pod. Zara watched in awe as the withered seed within the pod began to change. It swelled, cracked, and in a burst of verdant energy sprouted. In a matter of seconds, a sapling grew into a magnificent tree that somehow fit within the confines of the chamber, its branches reaching towards unseen stars. As the energy subsided, Jake stumbled back, caught by Zara's strong arms. Did it work?" he mumbled, his voice weak. Zara's reply was cut short by a sound that defied description, a harmonic resonance that seemed to vibrate through reality itself. The cosmic oak, fully restored, stood before them in all its glory. Its leaves shimmered with starlight, and its bark seemed to ripple with the ebb and flow of space-time. "By all that's sacred," Zara whispered, "you've done it, Jake. You've brought back a legend." But their triumph was short-lived. The tree's branches began to twist and contort, forming shapes that hurt the eye to look upon. A gap appeared in its trunk, not a hole, but a tear in the very fabric of space. "What's happening?" Jake demanded, struggling to his feet. Before Zara could respond, a figure stepped through the tear. Humanoid in shape, but composed of swirling cosmic energies, it regarded them with eyes that burned like newborn stars. At long last, the being spoke, its voice resonating on multiple planes of existence. "The key has been forged, the lock undone. The eternity cascade can begin." Jake and Zara exchanged bewildered glances. "I'm sorry," Jake said, summoning every ounce of diplomatic training he possessed. "But who exactly are you?" The being's form shimmered, as if amused. "I am the architect, last of the precursors, and you, unlikely children of the cosmos, have just changed the fate of all realities." As the weight of the architect's words settled upon them, Jake and Zara realized that their quest to perfect the Lazarus Protocol had opened a door to something far greater and more terrifying than they could have imagined. The revival of the cosmic oak was not just a scientific breakthrough, it was the first note in a symphony of cosmic revolution. Kex growled softly, positioning himself protectively in front of Jake and Zara. The architect regarded the beast with newfound interest. "Curious," it mused. "A nexus of potentialities, bound in flesh and fur. You may yet have a role to play in what is to come." As alarms blared throughout the facility and bewildered scientists rushed towards their location, Jake, Zara, and Kex found themselves at the threshold of an adventure that would span galaxies, challenge the very nature of existence, and force them to confront the eternal question: just because humanity could reshape reality, did it mean they should? The eternity cascade had begun, and the universe would never be the same quantum entanglement. The architect's arrival had thrown the entire HFY scientific community into chaos. As news of the cosmic being's existence spread, so did panic and wonder in equal measure. Jake, Zara, and Kex found themselves at the center of a storm that threatened to reshape the very fabric of the universe. "You don't understand," Jake argued, his voice echoing through the hastily assembled war room. "We can't just ignore the architect's warnings about the eternity cascade." High-ranking officials from both Earth and HFY watched the heated debate unfold on holographic screens. Zara stood by Jake's side, her tendrils twitching with nervous energy. "Captain Harrison," a stern-faced human general interrupted, "you're asking us to believe that this precursor is planning to rewrite reality based on the revival of a tree? It's preposterous." Zara stepped forward, her multifaceted eyes flashing with determination. "With all due respect, General, we've seen things in the past week that defy all known laws of physics. The cosmic oak is more than just a tree, it's a nexus point for all realities." As if to emphasize her point, a shimmering distortion appeared in the air beside them. The architect stepped through, its cosmic form casting ethereal light across the room. "Your limited perspectives amuse me," the being said, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "The eternity cascade is not a threat, but an opportunity, a chance to reshape existence itself." Panic erupted in the war room. Security personnel raised weapons, only to find them transformed into exotic flowers in their hands. "Please," Jake shouted over the commotion, Everyone calm down. Violence isn't the answer here. The architect turned its star-burning gaze to Jake. You continue to surprise me, human. Few would seek diplomacy in the face of cosmic upheaval. Kex, who had been unusually quiet, suddenly let out a low, rumbling growl. The beast's fur began to ripple with waves of energy that seemed to counteract the architect's reality-warping presence. Zora's eyes widened in realization. Jake, she whispered urgently, I think Kex is the key to all of this. He's not just countering the void race power, he's a stabilizing force for reality itself. Jake nodded, his mind racing. A cosmic anchor, he mused. But how do we use that to stop the eternity cascade? The architect, overhearing their exchange, let out a sound that might have been laughter. Stop it. Why would you want to stop the greatest transformation in the history of existence? Because it's not your choice to make. Jake shot back, a fire burning in his eyes. You may be a precursor, but that doesn't give you the right to rewrite reality for everyone else. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on the confrontation between man and cosmic being. The air crackled with tension and possibility. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the cosmic oak sapling, which had been kept in a containment field nearby. Its branches began to twist and grow at an impossible rate, punching through walls and floors as if they were no more substantial than mist. It's starting, the architect intoned, a note of eagerness in its otherworldly voice. The eternity cascade cannot be stopped. All realities will be remade in my image. As the oak's branches continued to expand, tearing holes in the very fabric of space-time, Jake made a split-second decision. He turned to Zora, his eyes conveying a silent message of trust and determination. Zora, I need you to trust me, he said quickly. Can you interface with the oak using your botanical knowledge? Zora nodded, her tendrils already reaching out towards the nearest branch. I think so, but Jake, what are you planning? Jake didn't answer. Instead, he knelt beside Kex, placing his hands in the beast's metallic fur. Hey, big guy, he said softly. I'm going to need your help one more time. Think you're up for saving all of reality? Kex let out a soft purr, nuzzling Jake's hand. The connection between them, forged through trust and shared adventures, had never felt stronger. Now, Zora, Jake shouted. As Zora made contact with the cosmic oak, Jake channeled every ounce of his will through Kex. The beast's fur erupted with blinding light, creating a field of stable reality that pushed back against the chaos of the eternity cascade. The architect recoiled, its cosmic form flickering. What are you doing? It demanded, a note of fear creeping into its voice for the first time. Jake gritted his teeth, sweat beading on his brow, as he fought to maintain the connection. We're showing you the true power of cooperation, he managed to say. Humans, Zenthari, and beings beyond our understanding, working together to preserve the beauty of our shared existence. Zora's voice joined his, resonating with the harmonic frequencies of the cosmic oak. We don't need to rewrite reality, she declared. We need to appreciate the infinite wonders it already holds. Kex let out a roar that shook the foundations of reality itself. The beast's power, amplified by Jake's indomitable will and Zora's cosmic connection, created a shockwave that rippled through all dimensions. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The eternity cascade, instead of rewriting reality, began to stabilize it. The tiers in space-time sealed themselves, and the chaotic growth of the cosmic oak slowed to a manageable pace. The architect stared in disbelief as its grand plan unraveled. Impossible, it whispered. You've altered the very nature of the cascade. How? Jake, exhausted but triumphant, met the cosmic being's gaze. Because that's what humans do, he said with a tired smile. We face the impossible, and we find a way, not alone, but together with those we trust. As the dust settled and the immediate danger passed, Jake, Zora, and Kex found themselves at the center of a new reality, one where the boundaries between species, planets, and even dimensions had been forever changed. The architect, humbled by the display of unity and determination, bowed its cosmic head. Perhaps it mused, there is still much for even a precursor to learn. I will watch your progress with great interest, unlikely heroes. With that, the being vanished, leaving behind a room full of stunned officials, scientists, and one very tired interspecies trio. As Jake leaned against Kex, Zora's hand finding his in a gesture of shared triumph, he couldn't help but laugh. "Well," he said, looking at his unlikely family, "I guess this means our adventure is just beginning, huh?" Zora's eyes sparkled with excitement and affection. "I wouldn't have it any other way, Captain." Kex let out a contented rumble, as if to say, "Bring it on." And so, as the twin sons of Saxis 9 rose on a new era of cosmic understanding, Jake, Zora, and Kex stood ready to face whatever wonders and challenges the infinite realities might hold, together. Nexus of Infinities. The galactic media dubbed it the harmonic convergence, the day when a human, a Zenthari, and a creature beyond classification reshaped the cosmos. In the months following their confrontation with the architect, Jake, Zora, and Kex found themselves at the center of a new interstellar age. The United Galactic Council chamber buzzed with anticipation. Representatives from 1,000 worlds held their breath as Jake stepped up to the podium, Zora and Kex flanking him on either side. "Distinguished delegates," Jake began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber, "we stand at a crossroads of infinite possibilities. The Eternity Cascade has given us a glimpse into the multiverse, but it's up to us to decide how to use this knowledge." Zora stepped forward, her tendrils gently swaying. "Our team has been studying the residual effects of the cascade. We've discovered that the boundaries between realities have become permeable." A murmur rippled through the assembly. A Volcrin elder, their crystalline form shimmering, spoke up. "Are you suggesting we can travel between dimensions?" Jake nodded, a glint in his eye. "Not just travel, Ambassador. We can communicate, exchange knowledge, even terraform." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Terraform reality itself. A Karathi hive mind buzzed incredulously. "Indeed," Zora confirmed. "Using a combination of the Lazarus Protocol and the quantum-stabilizing properties we've observed in Kex, we believe we can reshape dead or dying realities, bringing entire universes back from the brink of heat death." The implications were staggering. Entire civilizations that had been lost to time could potentially be restored. Extinct species could flourish once more across the multiverse. But not everyone was convinced. A human admiral, his face grim, stood up. "And what's to stop less scrupulous individuals from exploiting this technology? We could be opening Pandora's box on a cosmic scale." Jake raised his hands, calling for calm. "Your concerns are valid, Admiral. That's why we're proposing the formation of a new organization, the Multiversal Harmony Corps." Holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showcasing sleek ships designed to traverse the boundaries between realities. "These vessels," Jake explained, "powered by cosmic oak derivatives and staffed by diverse crews from across our galaxy, will serve as explorers, peacekeepers, and if necessary, defenders of the multiverse." Zara picked up the thread. "But more than that, they'll be ambassadors of unity, living proof that beings from different worlds, different species, even different dimensions can work together towards a common goal." Kex, as if sensing the weight of the moment, let out a low, melodious rumble that resonated through the chamber. The sound carried with it a sense of calm and purpose that touched every being present. A Zenthari counselor, her eyes wide with wonder, spoke up. "And you three? What role will you play in this new cosmic order?" Jake and Zara exchanged a glance, a silent communication born of months of working side by side. "We've been offered command of the first multiversal harmony vessel," Jake said. "Along with Kex, of course. He's as much a part of this team as either of us." "Perhaps even more so," Zara added with a fun smile, reaching down to scratch behind Kex's ears. The beast purred contentedly, its metallic fur rippling with hints of otherworldly energy. As the council deliberated, Jake found a quiet moment to pull Zara aside. "Are you sure about this?" he asked softly. "Once we step through that first-dimensional portal, there's no going back. We'll be charting a course through uncharted realities." Zara's multifaceted eyes met his, shimmering with emotion. "Jake," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "ever since you walked into my life on Sax's 9, every day has been an adventure. Why stop now?" Their hands intertwined, fingers of different species fitting together perfectly. Kex nuzzled against their legs, completing their unlikely family unit. The council chamber fell silent as the galactic president rose to speak. "We have reached a decision," she announced, her voice ringing with authority. "The Multiversal Harmony Course is hereby established, with Captain Jake Harrison, Dr. Zara Xenthor, and Kex appointed as its first commanding officers." Cheers erupted throughout the chamber, a cacophony of different species united in hope for the future, as Jake, Zara, and Kex made their way to the newly christened MHC Nexus. Their flagship, a familiar shimmer in the air, caught their attention. The architect materialized before them, its cosmic form more subdued than before. "You continue to surprise me," it said, a note of respect in its otherworldly voice. "Perhaps there is hope for the younger races after all." Jake grinned. "Care to join us? I'm sure a precursor's knowledge would come in handy exploring the multiverse." The architect seemed to consider for a moment before shaking its head. "My time as a shaper of realities has passed. This new age belongs to you. But know this, you have allies in dimensions beyond your comprehension. When the time comes, we will stand with you." With that, the cosmic being faded away, leaving behind a shimmering mote of light that floated gently into Kex's fur, absorbed seamlessly. As they boarded the Nexus, a ship unlike any other in the galaxy, Jake turned to his companions. "Well," he said, excitement dancing in his eyes, "shall we see what's out there?" Zara's tendrils curled in anticipation. "All of infinity awaits, my love. Let's make it a better place, one reality at a time." Kex let out an eager growl, padding over to what was unmistakably a control console designed just for him. With a shared laugh, the unlikely trio took their positions on the bridge. The Nexus hummed to life around them, cosmic oak energy pulsing through its veins. "All systems ready," Zara reported, her hands dancing over holographic displays. "Dimensional drive spooling up," Jake added, his voice steady despite the enormity of what they were about to attempt. Kex's paw came down on his console, and a portal shimmered into existence before the ship, a gateway to realms unknown. Jake took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Then, with a grin that spoke of boundless optimism in the face of cosmic mystery, he gave the order that would echo across the multiverse. "Nexus, take us through. Our next great adventure awaits." As the ship surged forward into the swirling dimensional rift, Jake, Zara, and Kex stood united, ready to face whatever wonders and challenges the infinite realities might hold. For they had discovered the greatest power in any universe, the strength found in unity, love, and the unbreakable bonds of friendship. The Multiversal Harmony Course had begun its journey, and the cosmos would never be the same.